Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Mick Alphaning. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I would greatly appreciate that. And if you could, please click that like button, turn it into a rocket, and send it to the moon. Actually, that like button really helps with the algorithm and pushing your video up to be viewed by more people. You'd be surprised how impactful it is. Now, I think I'm discovering something very interesting about XLM and IBM Worldwire. Here is from newsroom.ibm.com. Now, if you would permit me a little bit of time, we're going to tie all this together and then you draw your own conclusions. But this is very interesting. IBM, this is from newsroom.ibm.com. Okay, so it's reputable. It's directly from them. IBM's flexible approach to navigating the cloud and AI journey has convinced 19 of the top 20 Fortune 500 banks and financial institutions to use IBM Cloud. Now that's interesting. 19 of the 20 Fortune 500 banks are utilizing IBM Cloud. Okay, why is that important? First of all, that's flabbergasting. That is a lot of money that's going to be coming to IBM. Why is that relevant here? It's because IBM has been utilizing parts of the Stellar blockchain within their IBM Cloud format. This took a lot of reading, a lot of perusing through their website and their PDFs. Oh my goodness, so many PDFs. I'm going to go here. Let's click here. Give me one moment, please. So here we're on IBM./case-studies, directly from IBM once again. They are utilizing Stellar in their data shield. Remember I said a lot of the banks, they love the fact that these protocol, XRP, XLM, Algorand, hbar, they're very secure. They like that. And it's something that I don't think we take into account enough. IBM has a product called IBM Cloud Data Shield. Let's read what they say here. It's being utilized by Irene Energy through IBM Cloud Data Shield. And it says, Irene Energy knew that blockchain technologies were the key to building the solution it needed. As members of France's vibrant and close-knit financial technology community, the company's founders were already aware of Talium, a company with a reputation for delivering successful projects built on blockchain technologies. The Irene Energy team reached out to Talium for support with design and delivery of the new platform. Talium helped us evaluate all the blockchain technologies, and Stellar was the best option. Let me read that again. Talium helped us evaluate all the blockchain technologies, and Stellar was the best option because of the very low cost per transaction and its support for simple contracts. It continues on. This is a quote. However, since we aim to scale up to hundreds of thousands of users and each user needs a Stellar ID for their digital wallet on our platform, we also needed a very scalable way to manage user credentials that will be highly secure. Okay, then it goes into a little bit more about utilizing the Stellar technology and how they're going to implement it. But what does this tell us? So we're seeing that people are already trying to merge their technologies with Stellar, build on Stellar through IBM Cloud Data. So IBM Cloud is utilizing Stellar already, but they just did it quietly. Shh, they didn't tell anybody, right? Not retail investors, right? That might be holding coins. They didn't tell them, but the institutions, the banks, they know. Like I said before, in a lot of these presentations that the foundations and institutions are giving to the banks, these are private, right? So the public is not going to know, and who's really going to read through as many PDFs as I just did in web pages as I did to find this. I'm a little bit of a different individual though. Why is this relevant? IBM Cloud is utilizing Stellar, and what did they just say? Let's go back here again. IBM's flexible approach to navigating the cloud, right? And AI journey, which just means implementing the cloud and AI, has convinced 19 of the top 20 Fortune 500 banks So IBM Cloud is already being used by 19, or not like used as it's been rolled out, but they're building on it. They're testing it out, right? 19 of the top 20 Fortune 500 banks. 19 of the top 20. 19, I have to say it again. What is it? I almost threw out a what does it do to that price too early. But 19 of the top 20 Fortune 500 banks. I just showed you they're utilizing Stellar in their IBM Cloud Shield. Okay, now let's bring this back full circle just for a moment. I believe that because they are already integrating the Stellar blockchain into IBM Cloud in various ways, they're actually using it in a lot of different ways. I just wanted to give you this one solid example that IBM actually offers you as a use case. I believe at some point, IBM Worldwire will fully be integrated into IBM Cloud. IBM Cloud has made its one of its goals to bring in as many banks as possible. It's one of his goals. It has an entire banking section of IBM Cloud to make it easier for them to utilize blockchain technologies and a lot of other technologies, Hyperledger. Hedera is in there as well. Okay, I wasn't going to talk about that in this video. Hedera is in there as well. Hedera Hashgraph, hbar is in there as well. They're in the mix with IBM. They have an entire banking section where they provide all of these services, and also they iterate to institutions of how much money they can save, how much revenue they can generate by using the technology. Remember, I've been saying this for months. Now you're hearing it from a competitor, according to Forbes, a competitor to Swift. It's going by Forbes.com, said IBM is a competitor to Swift, which means what? That means that Stellar is a competitor to Swift. It also means hbar is a competitor to Swift. They're all, like I said, interoperability. They are forming Voltron. IBM is forming Voltron, but if they're letting you know on their website, and I found the hbar, it's very easy to find what hbar is doing with IBM if you just do a Google search, okay? And it's right on one of their front pages. Hedera is being utilized by IBM. Stellar is being utilized in a multitude of ways by IBM. They have over 100 plus ecosystem partners already. 100 plus ecosystem partners. They have 19 of the top 20 Fortune 500 banks. There will be a trickle-down effect, I would assume, if 19 of the top 20 Fortune 500 banks are utilizing IBM Cloud, and that's integrated with Worldwire, and it doesn't even matter at this point because the cloud is already utilizing Stellar. There's a possibility they could do away with Worldwire and it's just absorbed into the cloud. Does it matter how it's presented? All that matters to us is that Stellar and hbar are being utilized by the top 19 of 19 banks out of 20, right? And all of that money, trillions and quadrillions flowing through these protocols. Also, IBM is working with Bank of America. All you have to do is a Google search. Very easy. While you're sipping your coffee or your wine, just pick up your phone and type in IBM Bank of America. Okay? This is getting very, very beautiful. Muy, muy linda, mi gente. Muy, muy linda. Now, because reputable sources like Forbes are saying that it's a competitor to Swift, and looking at the setup of it, this is definitely a competitor to Swift. Swift is in trouble. They're in trouble. And I have nothing against Swift, but I want to make lots of money, so I'm on the side of blockchain. But they're in a lot of trouble. This is a major, major competitor that has been moving very quietly. They're making a lot of deals very quietly. 100 plus ecosystem partners, 19 of the top 20 banks. Now, let's talk about that trickle down effect. I almost got off that. Let's go back to that. If 19 of the 20 top banks are utilizing IBM Worldwire, which is built, a lot of it is utilizing Stellar blockchain and Hedera, then, or IBM Cloud, then other banks lower than the top 19 will take interest. They'll say, what are they using? We want to make money like they do. We want to be big like they are, bring in revenue. We want to save money like they do. What is this technology they're utilizing? And they're going to find out. They're going to reach out to those other banks and they're going to find out, oh, they're using IBM Worldwire. It's built on Stellar. They don't even have to know it's built on Stellar. They just have to use it. And there's a possibility that they can come into the ecosystem as well, that they can utilize IBM Cloud Worldwire as well. And if that happens, we're looking at XLM actually becoming much bigger than we might have anticipated. We're looking at hedera being much more of a sleeping giant than we actually predicted. All the other coins are going to do great. Ripple has so many partners. They're going to do fantastic. Algo is going to do fantastic. The interoperable system, and what I'm seeing is it's coming together, it's forming Voltron. And what may end up happening with the concept that I floated before about MBDCs, there may be iterations, early iterations of that coming about right now as companies like IBM are intermingling technologies. They're intermingling the technologies. Let's go here. I have so many tabs on my computer opened up. Just bear with me, please. But all of this is leading to somewhere. Let's go here. Permit me one moment, please. Okay, so even on just one of the tabs, if you type in IBM Cloud Bank Partners and do a search engine query, right? One of the tabs from IBM itself, newsroomibm.com says IBM and Bank of America advance IBM Cloud. So there you go, confirmation. They've worked with Bank of America and developed IBM Cloud with Bank of America. Okay, it says IBM today announced that several global banks, including BNP Paribas, one of Europe's largest banks, will join a growing ecosystem of financial institutions and more than 30 new technology providers adopting IBM Cloud for financial services. Now, at this point, if you go to IBM's website, it has gone from 30 ecosystem partners to 100 plus ecosystem partners. 100 plus. Unbelievable. All of that will be running through all of that could possibly be running through the Stellar blockchain. All right. So, and also Hedera will be interoperability. They're going to be flowing one into the other. This is very, very interesting developments. And the future is looking very bright, very solid. And that price has been beautiful, hasn't it? Like 31 cents, 32 cents. It's more to accumulate before the rocket takes off. Let's go back to this article on IBM.com, right? This is about IBM Cloud. And this is about their particular offering titled IBM Cloud Data Shield, okay? Now, they're talking about the security of this particular utilization of the shield. But listen to this. Stellar authenticates users through public key cryptography. So Irene Energy's platform must be able to look up users' private keys whenever they submit a transaction. At the same time, it must ensure that no one, not even its own employees or the customers themselves, can intercept or read the private keys before, during, or after the transaction. It's relatively easy to encrypt data when it's at rest and even when it's in transit. The problem we had to solve was how to protect it during the runtime of the transaction itself when the private key is stored in memory. At that moment, there's a risk that someone who has root access to the server could read the decrypted key. So they're solving these problems, which means that these developers, i.e. IBM, these utilizers of IBM are actually contributing to improving the Stellar blockchain. They're improving blockchain. They're adding things. They're Frankensteining them in a very, very good way. But what does this tell us? Now, about security with Stellar, don't we know that holding stellar lumens, right? The more lumens you hold, the more secure your network is, because the lumens create the friction that is necessary, just enough friction to keep out the bad actors. I believe that's how they phrased it on the Stellar Foundation's website. So all of these institutions are going to be buying, possibly, are going to be buying lumens in mass. In mass. What does it do to that price? 19 of the top 20 banks, possibly, if they're using this system, IBM says they're a part of the ecosystem. If they're utilizing the Stellar blockchain in any possible way, they're going to be utilizing lumens, right? And if Worldwire is fully integrated into the cloud, and it looks like that's what's happening, right? As they ready the cloud with financial services. If Worldwire, even if it remains by itself, but if it's integrated, absorbed into the cloud, IBM Cloud, as an offering, lumens will be purchased in mass. Think about lumens at 31 cents, right? And just ask yourself, if the price continues to be kept low, and it looks like that, it's being kept very, very low, when the institutions have regulatory clarity and they're ready to buy and they have millions of dollars, billions of dollars at their disposal, how many lumens can they buy? They can buy as many as they please. And that's one reason I would believe is logical. If I were a large institution or a network of large institutions, and I knew I was going to have to utilize XRP, XLM, Algorand, hbar, I would take action to keep that price low as well. That's just logical. I would do everything in my power to keep that price low, so that when it's time to use them, I don't have to pay a whole lot of money to get them. Some of you might say, well, they have such a bounty of money, Alphanine. What does it matter to them what the price is? It does matter. In this world, the price matters. It doesn't matter if you're a billionaire, millionaire. Price matters. Price matters. There's so many millionaires and billionaires. They're wearing regular clothing. Okay, price matters. Wise people save money. They're not trying to spend more money than they have to. We want to make a lot of money, bring it in, large amounts of capital. But we don't want to spend a lot of money, okay? All right? Just understand that's a theme across a lot of people who are very successful. We don't want to spend a lot of money. So I would keep that price as low as possible. 31 cents, 35, heck, 56 cents. It doesn't matter. As long as it's kept low, as we can possibly keep it. And then when there's regulatory clarity, buy them in mass. That will cause the price to skyrocket. As the price is skyrocketing, retail investors are going to sell. They're going to take profits so early, it's going to blow your mind. Because in their heart, they don't truly believe it's going to go extremely parabolic. They just believe it's going to go kind of parabolic. And they fear not selling at the right time. That fear is going to make them sell so early. But what's going to happen, in my estimation, is when they sell early, the institutions and banks are going to just sweep up all of those banking coins, and the price will skyrocket, in my humble opinion. And if it goes high enough with the volume, the average transaction value, another video, I was saying transaction price. What I meant was transaction value. But with a high volume of transactions and a high transaction average value, and the rarity of coins, when all the banks and institutions and governments buy all of them in mass, the price might be mind-blowing. And those people who sold will be priced out. And this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a researcher. I present it to you, and what you do with it is up to you. So I'm not telling you it's bad to sell. No, if that price looks good to you and you're making so much money that you need to sell, you sell that. That's what I would think. But once those are sold, I believe, humbly, that people will be priced out. And then the banks and institutions will have those banking coins all to themselves. Okay, and they will use it. They don't have to use it in a a closed system in the traditional sense, but it will be a closed system because nobody else will have access to those particular banking coins. Okay. Of course, they're going to use private ledgers. So it will be closed in that way. But I mean, as far as anybody being able to purchase them, they'll be priced out. I believe they'll be priced out. You can see an example of that when it comes to, I believe, like the Bank of International Settlements and a lot of the other central banks. I forgot the name of it, but they already have a private currency that they've been using for a long time that they only use between banks. They only use that currency between banks. A lot of people don't know that. They already have something like that. It's a part of the legacy system, so it probably will be done away with and upgraded once they roll out the new system. But that's how it's going to work with the new system. They're just going to be using it between banks. All right. And they will, the price will be high. The value of it will be high, very, very high. Because it won't matter. It's going between banks. It won't matter. You know, I don't want to delve too deep into that, but this is a very interesting development. So once again, I iterate 19 of the top 20 Fortune 500 banks are utilizing IBM Cloud. IBM Cloud is utilizing stellar technology right now. All right. Of course, there hasn't been regulatory clarity. Not everything is up and running, not up and running, but it's not being fully utilized just yet. We have to get this headache of a case out of the way. We have to get regulatory clarity so there's no problems. The SEC is like a barking dog going after everybody. We don't need problems, so we can't just use it just yet. You have to take patience. And if IBM Worldwire, IBM Cloud, is a competitor to Swift, you must understand it will take some time. Who knows how much? They're moving at a very fast pace. Actually, they're moving very quickly. But to replace such a massive legacy system, it will take a little bit of time. The question is, where does your patience lie? I'm not telling you how much or how little patience to have, but everyone's patience is going to be tested. It's going to be tested. I have infinite amount of patience. I'm going to see that big money. Ahab investors hunting that white whale. You're going down, white whale. Oh yeah, you're going down. All that money, we're going to scoop up all that money. Can't shake us out. That's not going to happen. Not going to happen. So, I don't know if I was quite eloquent with that, but I hope that information is valuable to you. You can now go and research it yourself. You can do some quick Google searches and DuckDuckGo searches for yourself. Go on IBM. A lot of this is on IBM. It's just right there. Just takes a lot of digging to see the connections. And as I said before, and I didn't cover this in its entirety, they're utilizing Stellar blockchain in a myriad of ways. Not just one. Not just one. We were only thinking about Worldwire. They're using it here in their IBM Cloud Data Shield in a few other ways. And they have access to 100 plus major institutions, 100 plus ecosystem partners, and 19 out of the 20 Fortune 500 banks. Gives you something to think about. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? Oh, I know what I'm going to do with it. I definitely do. So until next time, let's get to the money.